In the ancient scrolls of mankind, there is a name that drips with corruption, rebellion, and ruin. A name that has echoed for millennia through the halls of scripture and legend alike. Belial. A word once spoken to describe the worthless, but over centuries, it became far more than a mere insult. It became the very embodiment of rebellion against the Most High. From the lips of prophets to the warnings of apostles, Belial appears not as a fleeting shadow, but as a figure of dread, a spirit of lawlessness, a prince of corruption, a whisper of chaos. But who or what is Belial? Was he merely a word, a symbol of wickedness? Or was he, as countless traditions attest, a demon, a prince of darkness, whose throne is built upon lies, temptation, and rebellion against divine order? In the scriptures, Belial's shadow emerges like a poison, creeping into the lives of men. The sons of Belial, men of corruption, the lawless who defy the order of God. But in later texts, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, in apocryphal writings, in the fairy imagination of early demonologists, Belial evolves. He becomes no longer a mere word, but a being, a king of demons, a destroyer, the very adversary of the Archangel Michael. The Apostle Paul himself warns, what accord has Christ with Belial? Or what part has a believer with an unbeliever? Placing Belial in direct opposition to the Son of God. This, then, is the story we must explore, not of man alone, but of the lawless one, the demon of worthlessness, the shadow of rebellion. A tale that weaves through scripture, history, and myth, and still whispers to us in the darkness of our age. This is the story of Belial, the demon of lawlessness. To understand Belial, we must return to the beginning, to the ancient words of the Hebrew scriptures. The name Belial first appears not as a single being, but as a description, a label for those who lived without virtue, without honor, without submission to God. It was a word of condemnation, a word meaning worthless, corrupt, lawless. In the book of Deuteronomy, we hear it first. If you hear in one of your cities, which the Lord your God gives you to dwell in, that certain men, the children of Belial, have gone out from among you and enticed the inhabitants of their city, saying, let us go and serve other gods. Then you shall inquire, search out, and ask diligently. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 13 to 14. Here, Belial is not yet a figure of fire and wings, but the seed of rebellion itself, a spirit of idolatry, a poison that spreads among men. In the book of Judges, we see the sons of Belial again, men who abused the innocent, men who cast off the laws of God. Their deeds bring destruction not only upon themselves, but upon the entire tribes of Israel. And in the days of King Saul, the phrase surfaces once more. Now the sons of Belial said, how shall this man save us? And they despised him, and brought him no presents, but he held his peace. 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 27. Time and time again, Belial marks those who despise God's chosen, those who rebel against divine order, those who delight in corruption. But scripture does not stop there. Centuries later, in the writings of the Apostle Paul, the word resurfaces, not as an adjective, but as a name, a rival, a power, a presence. Paul warns the Corinthians with thunderous clarity. What accord has Christ with Belial? Or what part has a believer with an unbeliever? 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 15. Here, Belial is no longer simply a term for the wicked, but a force, a being, a rival to Christ himself, a shadow set against the light, the embodiment of rebellion, very spirit of lawlessness. From the words of Moses to the cries of the prophets to the pen of Paul, Belial grew. He grew from a description of corruption to a title of the lawless, to a throne among demons. And soon, he would be painted as one of hell's greatest princes, a general of chaos, a destroyer, a king of the damned. But the story of Belial does not remain confined to the pages of the Old Testament. His shadow lengthens, reaching into the writings found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, texts hidden for 2,000 years beneath the sands of Qumran. There, in the War Scroll, Belial is no longer a mere word, no longer a description of lawless men. He is painted as the very chief of the forces of darkness. The scrolls declare, "You, Belial, are the angel of darkness, and your rule is in the kingdom of wickedness. All the spirits of his lot cause the sons of light to stumble." Here, Belial is given dominion, a throne over the wicked, a legion of spirits under his command. He is the eternal adversary of the Archangel Michael, the Prince of Light. Their war is cosmic, eternal, stretching across heaven and earth. Belial becomes the corrupter, the one who leads astray, the one who tempts mankind into idolatry, greed, and violence. He is the whisper in the court of kings, the hand that twists justice, the breath that turns brother against brother. Later apocryphal writings echo this vision. In the testament of the 12 patriarchs, Belial is depicted as the personification of lawlessness. He is the one who ensnares mankind, binding them with lust, corruption, and pride. And in the fiery words of the early church fathers, Belial grows yet darker. He is seen as a prince of demons, the king of those who rebel against the order of heaven. His name, once meaning only worthless, has become synonymous with rebellion itself. Scripture warned of him, prophets feared him, and the faithful were taught to guard against his snares. For Belial was no longer just a shadow of men's wickedness. He had become the demon of lawlessness, the adversary of God's order, the whisper of chaos in the soul of mankind. As the centuries passed, the name of Belial grew darker still. From the scriptures of Israel to the scrolls of Qumran, his presence spread. And when the medieval world began to catalogue the princes of hell, Belial's name was written in fire. In the grimoire of Demonology, the forbidden books of magicians and sorcerers, Belial is no longer a shadow, no longer a whisper. He is a king, a sovereign of the damned, a ruler of legions. The Testament of Solomon, an ancient text that details the power of demons, names Belial as a spirit of arrogance and lawlessness, one who entices men to sin and corrupts the hearts of rulers. The medieval Pseudo-Monarchia Demonum and the infamous Ars Goetia, grimoire of the black arts, describe Belial as a mighty king of hell, commanding 80 legions of demons. He appears, they say, as a beautiful angel, seated upon a chariot of flame, crowned in splendor. But his beauty is deception, for his heart is only corruption. He grants gifts, they whisper, wealth, influence, power. But every gift comes at a price, a chain forged by the hand of hell itself. Those who call upon Belial find themselves ensnared, bound to lawlessness, their souls weighed in darkness. The demonologists declare him one of the most dangerous of hell's princes, not for his rage nor his destruction, but for his subtlety. Belial does not storm the walls of heaven. He whispers, he tempts, he corrupts from within. It was said he corrupted kings and bent empires to ruin. He is the spirit of rebellion, the corruption of law, the decay of nations. Thus, in the occult traditions, Belial reigns not merely as a demon, but as a throne-bearer of hell itself, a prince of lies, whose dominion spreads like fire in the night. From the deserts of Israel to the scrolls of Qumran, from the parchment of the apostles to the forbidden grimoire of the Middle Ages, the name of Belial has endured. Once a word for worthlessness, then a shadow among men, finally the king of hell itself. He is rebellion given form, corruption made flesh, lawlessness enthroned. The scriptures warned, what accord has Christ with Belial? For Belial has always stood in opposition to the divine, a force of chaos against order, of deception against truth, of corruption against purity. And though the ancients feared him as a prince of demons, Belial's presence lingers not only in myth, but in the symbols of our world today. He does not rage like a beast, nor storm like a whirlwind. His power is quieter, more insidious. He thrives in lawlessness, he whispers in corruption, he rises in rebellion. Every empire that collapses, every throne corrupted, every nation consumed by greed and decay, some have said Belial walks there. For Belial is not merely a demon of the past. He is a shadow that still follows mankind, the spirit of rebellion against the highest, the corrupter of nations, the seducer of kings. And so, his name remains, the Demon of Lawlessness, the spirit of rebellion that will plague humanity until the final judgment. The question is not whether Belial exists. The question is this: has his shadow already found its way into our world? And if it has, how close are we now to the end of days?